on Whimsy Woods Farm. Everyone has their place. Sunflower? She's the dreamer, the calm in the chaos. She moves through life slowly, savoring every breeze, every shift in the light beneath the big oak tree. But even Sunflower couldn't help but take notice when the new arrival strolled onto the farm. None other than Not Bacon, or as some folks have taken to calling him, BB Bacon Bits. Now, Not Bacon isn't your typical pig. No sir. From the moment he set hoof on this farm, he made it clear, he wasn't here to fit into anyone's expectations. Named as a joke back at Old Hollow Farm, Not Bacon was a promise that he'd never end up on anyone's breakfast plate. And as for the nickname BB, well, it's become part of his legend. Bacon Bits, small in size but packed with personality. He might sound like a handful, but there's no doubt he brings something special wherever he goes. You see, Sunflower has seen a lot of animals come and go over the years. She's watched them find their way, settle in, and figure out their place in the farm's quiet rhythm. But there's something different about BB. From the first moment she saw him wander under the oak tree, it was clear, this pig isn't here to just take up space. He's here to shake things up, and shake things up he does. BB isn't one for rules or routines. He's curious, always looking for a way to nudge the boundaries, test the limits. It's not mischief, exactly, it's more like exploration. He's not the type to take no for an answer, and if there's a locked gate, you can bet he's already figured out how to open it. Sunflower, though, isn't one to get ruffled by the likes of BB Bacon Bits. She's seen it all. Junior's stubborn streaks, Cluck Norris's endless crowing, and Gus's grumbling ways. So when BB came trotting along, with his clever snout and that spark of determination in his eyes, she just gave him a slow, knowing look. No judgment, no fuss, just understanding, because Sunflower, she knows something that maybe even BB doesn't realize yet. It's not about how fast you move or how much you stir things up, it's about finding your rhythm, your own place in the world. And maybe, just maybe, that's exactly what BB Bacon Bits has been searching for all along. So now, whenever BB trots over to that oak tree to rest under the shade, you'll find Sunflower standing nearby, chewing slowly, watching him with though. And here at Whimsy Woods, well, there's always room for someone like Not Bacon. There no words are needed, just two creatures who understand that sometimes, life is about more than fences and routines. It's about finding a place where you can be exactly who you are.
Not Bacon, or as some have started calling him, BB Bacon Bits. I can't help but chuckle every time I hear that nickname. It doesn't quite suit him. Too silly for a pig with as much spirit as he's got. But, hey, it seems to be sticking. I just hope he doesn't let it go to his head. Not that I think he would. There's something about Not Bacon that makes him stand out from the other pigs I've seen in my time here at Whimsy Woods Farm. First, let me say this. Not Bacon is one clever pig. And when I say clever, I mean he's got more wits than most of the animals on this farm, and maybe even some of the humans too. I've been around a long time, seen animals come and go, seen routines get established, and watched as life flows steadily around the farm. But Not Bacon? He doesn't quite follow the routine like the rest of us. He's always finding some way to break free of whatever's holding him back, whether it's a gate, a fence, or even expectations. I spend a lot of my days dreaming under the old oak tree, taking in the sun and letting the peaceful rhythm of the farm carry me through the day. But that doesn't mean I don't notice what's going on around here. I've got a good view of everything, and let me tell you, Not Bacon keeps things interesting. He's a bit of a rascal, but in a way that you can't help but admire. He'll sneak into the garden when Wilma's not looking, swipe an extra apple core or two, and somehow get away with it. But the thing is, he's not doing it out of greed. He's doing it because he's curious, and he's always testing the boundaries. There's a spark in him that I haven't seen in many animals. He's got this drive to push limits, and honestly, I respect that. It's not easy being a pig on a farm where most folks expect you to stay in the mud, eat, sleep, and not cause too much trouble. But Not Bacon? He's made a name for himself. Literally. His name tells you all you need to know. He's not Bacon. He's something more. He's got personality, and he knows how to use it. Now, as for that nickname, BB Bacon Bits. It makes me laugh every time I hear it. I think it started as a joke, like most nicknames do. Some of the animals, probably Cluck Norris and his gang, started calling him Bacon Bits because, let's face it, not bacon doesn't exactly roll off the tongue when you're trying to talk about him quickly. But Bacon Bits? It's catchy. And BB? Well, that just adds a layer of charm, doesn't it? The funny thing is, Not Bacon doesn't seem to mind the nickname. If anything, I think he kind of enjoys the attention. He's not one to shy away from the spotlight, after all. But he's clever enough to know that a nickname doesn't define him. He knows who he is, and he's proud of it. Still, I can't help but imagine him strutting around the barnyard thinking, yeah, call me Bacon Bits, but just remember, I'm more than that.
Speaking of Cluck Norris, I think he secretly respects Not Bacon, even if he'd never admit it. Cluck's got that whole tough guy act going on, always puffing out his chest and acting like he's the boss. But deep down, I think he knows that Not Bacon is more than just another pig on the farm. They've had their moments, those two. I've seen Not Bacon slip past Cluck when he's not paying attention, like it's a game between them. And Cluck? Well, he'll crow and flap his wings trying to maintain his authority, but I think even he enjoys the challenge. Then there's Junior, the mule. Now, Junior's got a stubborn streak that runs deep, and I thought I'd never see anyone as hard-headed as him. But Not Bacon. He's stubborn in his own way, though it's more of a quiet determination than the in-your-face kind of stubborn that Junior has. I've seen Junior try to block Not Bacon from getting into a field, just for the sake of it. And Not Bacon? He'll give Junior a look, like he's saying, really? This is what we're doing today? Then, with a clever little move, he'll find a way around Junior, and off he goes. It's impressive, honestly. Junior might be big and tough, but Not Bacon knows how to work around obstacles. As for me, I like to keep things calm and steady. I don't get caught up in the farm's drama or the antics of the other animals. I've got my spot under the oak tree, my quiet moments to dream, and my own rhythm to follow. But I have to say, having Not Bacon around has added a layer of excitement to the farm that I didn't expect. He's got a way of shaking things up, but not in a disruptive way, more like he's bringing new life to the farm. His energy is infectious, and even though I'm content to keep things slow and easy, I can't help but smile when I see him getting into his latest adventure. There's something about Not Bacon that makes you root for him. Maybe it's because he's always breaking the mold, refusing to be just another pig. Or maybe it's because he's clever enough to get away with things that would land any other animal in trouble. But whatever it is, I'm glad he's here at Whimsy Woods. The farm wouldn't be the same without him. In the end, Not Bacon, BB. Bacon Bits, whatever you want to call him, is one of a kind. He's got heart, he's got smarts, and he's got the kind of personality that makes life on the farm just a little more interesting. And while I may not join him in his escapades, I'll always be watching from my spot under the oak tree, quietly cheering him on as he finds new ways to outsmart the world around him.
Well, where do I even start with that pig? Not Bacon, now, that is a name, ain't it? But folks round here have taken to calling him BB Bacon Bits. I reckon it started as a joke, but you know how things go on a farm, nicknames stick like mud. And truth be told, the little guy's kinda grown into it. Now, let me tell ya, BB ain't like any other pig I've ever crossed paths with. Most pigs are happy enough rolling in the mud, taking naps, and snacking all day long. But not him. He's got ideas, big ones. Always scheming, always plotting. And somehow, he makes it all look easy, like he was born for mischief but too clever to ever get caught. I'll admit, when he first showed up, I wasn't too sure about having him around. I figured, another mouth to feed, another critter to get under my hooves. But, you know, BB surprised me. He's sharp, that one. I've seen him open gates faster than Gus can curse at M. And when Wilma ain't looking, he sneaks snacks like a professional. He's not just smart, he's smooth. Now, don't get me wrong, we've had our moments. Me and BB might not see eye to eye all the time. I mean, I'm a mule, after all, stubborn as they come, and proud of it. BB? Well, he's got his own brand of stubborn. But the difference is, he makes it look like a game. I'll stand there, blocking the path, thinking I've got him beat. And just when I think he's gonna give up, he'll flash me that little grin, wiggle under a fence, and come out the other side like it was nothing. You can't help but respect it, even if he does get on your nerves now and then. I guess what makes BB different is that he don't ever quit. He's always looking for the next challenge, always trying to outsmart the rest of us. He's the kind of pig that makes you think, what's he gonna pull next? And truth be told, I kinda like having him around, keeps things interesting. And you know, for all his trouble, he's got heart. You can see it in the way he fits right in here, like he was always meant to be at Whimsy Woods Farm. BB don't just bring his mischief, he brings a little extra life to the farm. Even Cluck Norris, with all his strutting and crowing, seems to have a bit more spring in his step since BB showed up. So yeah, BB Bacon Bits is something else, alright. He may be a handful, but I reckon this farm wouldn't be the same without him. And if he ever tries to pull one over on me again, well, let's just say I'm ready for him, at least, I think I am.
Alright, listen up, folks. I'm Cluck Norris, and if there's one thing I know, it's how to run a tight operation. I keep this farm in order. Every hen, every goat, every critter knows who's boss. But then, one day, along comes this pig, not Bacon. Or as some of the other animals like to call him, BB Bacon Bits. Now, I ain't usually one to share the spotlight, but I've gotta admit, this pig's got something. Again. Well, let's just say I'm ready for him. At least, I think I am. BB ain't your average porker, let me tell ya. He's clever. Too clever, if you ask me. He's the kind of pig who sees a fence and doesn't ask, how do I get around it? Nah, he asks, how can I make this fence irrelevant? And somehow, he always finds a way. I've been strutting these grounds long enough to spot trouble when it walks into the barnyard, and BB? Oh, he's trouble. But the good kind, the kind that keeps things interesting. Now, don't let that nickname Bacon Bits fool ya. BB's got more grit than most animals twice his size. He's not about being food on anyone's plate, he's about living life on his own terms. And I can respect that. Takes guts to show up on someone else's turf and act like you belong from day one. I've chased off foxes, stared down raccoons, and kept those goats in line, but BB? He's one of the few who can look me in the eye and not flinch. I'll tell you this much, the pig's got style. He doesn't just sneak into the garden, he saunters. Like he's got every right to be there. And, yeah, he's got a way of getting under your feathers, but somehow, you don't mind. It's that charm, you know? He's always 2 steps ahead, smirking like he's already thought of the next trick before you figured out the first one. And you know what? As much as I hate to admit it, the farm's a little better with him around. I've always prided myself on keeping things in order, making sure everything runs like clockwork. But BB brings something I never knew we needed. A little chaos, a little fun. He's like the wild card in the deck, always keeping you on your toes. Now, I ain't saying I'll go easy on him. He steps out of line, and I'll be the first one there, ready to set things straight. But as long as he stays sharp and keeps that mischievous streak of his under control, I think we'll get along just fine. So, yeah, not Bacon, BB Bacon Bits, whatever you want to call him. He's something else, alright. And if there's one thing I've learned from that pig, it's that life's a little more fun when you've got someone like him stirring things up. Just don't tell him I said that.
Every so often, a new animal makes its way to Whimsy Woods Farm. Some come with bravado, like Cluck Norris, strutting in as if they own the place. Others, like Not Bacon, sneak in with a mischievous grin and a mind full of schemes. And then, every once in a while, someone arrives who changes the rhythm of the farm in the most unexpected way. That someone is Mr. Timid, the newest resident here at Whimsy Woods, and let me tell you, this gentle bull has a story to tell. Now, bulls aren't usually known for being timid. In fact, most folks think of bulls as brash, loud, and stubborn. But Mr. Timid? He's not your typical bull. Oh, he's got the size and strength you'd expect, with a powerful frame and a set of horns that could make any critter step aside. But what you won't see coming is the softness in his eyes and the careful, measured way he steps into new places. He's a bull with a big heart, and maybe just a little bit of worry tucked behind those eyes of his. You see, Mr. Timid didn't grow up on a farm like this one. He came from a ranch where bulls were expected to act tough, kicking up dirt, charging fences, and making sure everyone knew who was in charge. But Mr. Timid? He never quite fit that mold. While the other bulls were testing their strength, Mr. Timid found his peace in the quiet corners of the pasture, standing under apple trees and enjoying the breeze. He wasn't interested in contests or proving himself. He was happy just being, well, himself. But being yourself isn't always easy when the world expects you to be something else. And that's how Mr. Timid got his name. When the ranchers noticed he wasn't eager to challenge the fences or chase after anything that moved, they started calling him Timid. It wasn't meant to be mean, just a way of pointing out that Mr. Timid didn't live life with the same urgency as the others. And truth be told, he was just fine with that. The thing is, the ranch wasn't the right fit for him. It was all noise and competition, and Mr. Timid? He needed something different. So the rancher decided to send him here, to Whimsy Woods, hoping he'd find a place where his gentle nature would be appreciated. And if there's one thing we know at Whimsy Woods, it's that every animal has a place, no matter how big or small, loud or quiet. When Mr. Timid arrived, he was hesitant, to say the least. Big as he is, you'd think he'd come stomping in, ready to make his mark. But no, he stood at the edge of the pasture, wide-eyed, taking it all in. And you know what? The other animals noticed right away. Cluck Norris was the first to approach him, of course. That rooster doesn't let anything happen on this farm without his approval. He strutted right up to Mr. Timid, puffed out his chest, and gave him the kind of look that said, "This is my farm, bull. Don't forget it." Now, Mr. Timid could have snorted, stomped, and sent that rooster flying, but instead, he just lowered his head and waited. He knew better than to waste energy on a rooster with a bit too much attitude. That threw Cluck Norris off a bit. He's used to getting a reaction. So, after a moment, he gave a quick flap of his wings and strutted off, probably thinking to himself, "This bull knows his place." What Cluck didn't realize was that Mr. Timid wasn't backing down. He just didn't see the need to fight a battle that didn't need fighting. And then there was Sunflower. If anyone could make Mr. Timid feel at home, it was her. She wandered over, calm as ever, and gave him the gentlest nudge with her nose. It was her way of saying, "You'll do just fine here. No need to worry." And for the first time in a long while, Mr. Timid let out a slow, steady breath, as if to say, "Maybe I belong here after all." Junior, of course, couldn't resist checking out the new guy. That mule's always got to be in the middle of things. He gave Mr. Timid a curious look, snorted once, and decided that this bull was all right. "You'll fit in just fine," Junior seemed to say before trotting off to find something else to occupy his time. And just like that, Mr. Timid was part of the Whimsy Woods family. You see, here at Whimsy Woods, it's not about how tough you are or how loud you can be. It's about finding your rhythm, your place in the wide open pasture under the shade of the apple trees. And that's exactly what Mr. Timid is doing. He may be big, but he moves through life slowly, thoughtfully, taking it all in one step at a time. These days, you'll find Mr. Timid under the apple trees, enjoying the breeze and the quiet. He doesn't need to prove anything to anyone. He's content in knowing that he's finally found a place where being himself is more than enough. And that's the beauty of Whimsy Woods. Every animal, from the smallest hen to the biggest bull, has a place here. And while Mr. Timid might not charge fences or cause a ruckus, he's exactly what this farm needs. A reminder that strength isn't always loud, and courage isn't always about charging forward. Sometimes, it's about standing still, finding peace, and knowing when not to fight. So if you happen to visit Whimsy Woods Farm and spot a big, gentle bull resting under the apple trees, don't be surprised if he gives you a slow blink and a soft snort. That's Mr. Timid for you, our quiet giant, who's finally found his place in the world. And around here, that's more than enough.